Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Morris Patrick. Today, I want to share information with the deaf community, hearing community, parents, families, social workers, and taxpayers about GLAD, the Greater Los Angeles Agency on Deafness. First, let me explain what GLAD is and what it is supposed to do. GLAD stands for the Greater Los Angeles Agency on Deafness. It is a nonprofit organization serving deaf and hard of hearing people. Its work includes advocacy, communication access, social services, employment-related services, information and referrals, and community programs and events. GLAD is supposed to serve and advocate for deaf and hard of hearing people and help provide access to services and resources. That is why I believe the information I am about to show you deserves attention. I want you to look at the documents for yourself and ask questions. This is not only a deaf community issue. The hearing community should also be aware because public funding comes from government programs supported by taxpayers. Title: GLAD and Los Angeles County DCFS. Let's start with GLAD's own records. On February 27, 2013, GLAD held a board of directors meeting. Karen Bowman was listed among the board members present. During that meeting, GLAD documented Karen Bowman's professional background. According to GLAD's own minutes, Bowman previously worked for GLAD as a CCA and advocate specialist and later worked for the courts. Most importantly, the minutes state that Karen Bowman was working for the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services as a supervisor for the deaf unit. The GLAD board then voted to accept Karen Bowman as a board member. That documented relationship deserves attention. A person working as a supervisor for the deaf unit within Los Angeles County DCFS was also serving on the board of an organization whose purpose included serving and advocating for the deaf community. I believe the public has a right to ask how potential conflicts of interest were handled. Title: Follow the public funding. Now let's talk about money. GLAD's own February 2013 minutes document its relationship with government-funded services. During that meeting, GLAD reported that it had submitted 4 proposals to the Department of Social Services and that its 4 centers had been awarded continued DSS services, subject to negotiations and completion of fully executed contracts. Government funding involving GLAD continued in later years. For example, California's Employment Development Department reported that GLAD received $1,326,235.75 for the 2024-2025 Deaf and Hard of Hearing program. California EDD identified that particular program as 100% federally funded through the United States Department of Labor. GLAD was then awarded another $1,401,493.68 for the 2025-2026 program year. We are talking about millions of dollars in public funding across government programs. And those recent awards do not represent GLAD's entire government funding history. That is why I want taxpayers to ask: how much total government funding has GLAD received over the years? How much came through Los Angeles County? How much came through California government programs? How much originated with the federal government? And what exactly was GLAD required to provide with that public money? Title: GLAD Events in Deaf Families. Now let's look at something else in GLAD's own records. GLAD and its related centers have organized programs and community events involving deaf people and families. The February 2013 minutes specifically describe a community education workshop for hearing parents with deaf children and deaf parents with hearing children. According to the minutes, parents and children were brought together to express their concerns and help make sure parents and children understood each other. There is nothing inherently wrong with GLAD organizing community events. Community programs can provide important services and opportunities for deaf families. But when I put this information beside the documented relationship involving a Los Angeles County DCFS deaf unit supervisor serving on GLAD's board, I believe there are legitimate questions that should be answered. Were Los Angeles County DCFS social workers ever present at GLAD events involving parents and children? Did DCFS personnel participate in GLAD programs? Did GLAD refer families to DCFS? Did DCFS refer families to GLAD? Was information concerning parents or children ever exchanged between GLAD and DCFS? If information was exchanged, what information was shared? What legal authority allowed it? Were parents informed? And what privacy protections existed? I am not claiming that GLAD organized community events for the purpose of allowing DCFS social workers to secretly monitor families or remove children. The evidence presented here does not establish that. I am asking whether it happened and whether records exist that can answer that question. Title: NASW Code of Ethics. Now I want social workers and the public to understand another important part of this issue. The National Association of Social Workers, known as NASW, has a code of ethics. NASW Standard 1.06 is called Conflicts of Interest. The NASW code says social workers should be alert to and avoid conflicts of interest that interfere with professional discretion and impartial judgment. It also addresses what social workers should do when real or potential conflicts arise, including protecting clients' interests. The code additionally addresses dual or multiple relationships when there is a risk of exploitation or potential harm. That professional ethical standard makes me ask, how was Karen Bowman's relationship with GLAD handled while she was also working for Los Angeles County DCFS's deaf unit? Was there a conflict of interest disclosure? Did she recuse herself from matters involving DCFS? Were there written boundaries between her GLAD responsibilities and her DCFS responsibilities? What safeguards protected deaf parents who interacted with both organizations? If a deaf parent had a dispute with Los Angeles County DCFS and approached GLAD for advocacy, how did GLAD ensure that its advocacy was independent? These are questions that deserve documented answers. Serving in both positions does not by itself prove that Bowman violated the NASW Code of Ethics. Whether an ethical violation occurred would depend on the circumstances, her professional responsibilities, applicable policies, and what actually occurred. But the documented overlapping relationships make conflict of interest safeguards an appropriate subject for examination. Title: Privacy and Confidentiality. NASW also addresses privacy and confidentiality under Standard 1.07. That makes another question extremely important. What happened to information deaf parents provided when they sought services or advocacy? Were families' records kept confidential? Could someone associated with both GLAD and DCFS access information from both organizations? Did information ever move from one organization to another? If information was disclosed, was there authorization or another lawful basis for doing so? These questions should be answered with documents, not assumptions. Title: What I want the public to see. I want the public to see the records. Show us the contracts. Show us the grants and government funding. Show us the conflict of interest policies and disclosures. Show us the privacy and confidentiality policies. Show us any agreements between GLAD and Los Angeles County DCFS. Show us whether DCFS employees participated in GLAD programs or events involving deaf parents and children. Show us what safeguards existed when people associated with government agencies also held positions within organizations serving the same community. And if information concerning families was exchanged between these organizations, the public deserves to know what was shared, why it was shared, and what authority permitted it. Title: This is about accountability. I want to be very clear. Receiving government funding does not prove corruption. Organizing events for deaf families does not prove wrongdoing. And a DCFS employee serving on GLAD's board does not, by itself, prove that families were improperly monitored or targeted. But these documented relationships give the public legitimate reasons to ask questions about independence, conflicts of interest, privacy, transparency, and accountability. This matters to the deaf community. This matters to the hearing community. This matters to parents and children. This matters to social workers who follow professional ethical standards. And this matters to taxpayers. Taxpayers have a legitimate interest in knowing where public money goes, what services they are paying for, and what safeguards government-funded organizations have in place. Don't simply take my word for it. Look at the documents yourself. Follow the public money. Examine the relationships. Compare those relationships with professional ethical standards. Ask questions. Demand transparency and accountability.